earlier hands-off rhetoric, the U.S. President Donald Trump has also privately urged the Ukrainian President Zelensky to step up strikes inside the Russian territory, even asking him if he could directly hit Moscow. Zelensky, of course, has replied saying that absolutely we can do that if you give us weapons. Now, this provocative exchange followed a tense call between Trump and Putin just a day earlier, which the U.S. president had later described as bad. Now, Trump's call with Zelensky is now being seen as a direct response to Putin's continued refusal to engage in ceasefire talks proposed by Washington. Now, behind-the-scenes conversation highlights a growing frustration within the Trump administration about Moscow's in transition that marks a sharp departure from Trump's previous campaign promise to end U.S. entanglement in foreign territories as well. Let's in the meantime get you exactly what has been asked by Donald Trump to President Zelensky. Because on the day asking Zelensky if he could strike Moscow, President Trump seems to have now taken a U-turn on his earlier claim, now stating that Zelensky should not target Moscow. Now, this is as far as when it comes to such kind of talks and, when it comes to such kind of statements that have been given by several of those leaders as well. But when we speak of NATO, when we speak of Washington, they have had a complex relationship with Russia that has been characterized with both cooperation and there is also conflict between the two parties. Let's listen it.
Should Zelensky target Moscow? Should Zelensky target Moscow, sir? Should Zelensky target Moscow or deeper into Russia?
No, he shouldn't target Moscow.
Is that why you gave him more weapons, though?
No, we're not looking to do it.
So such kind of provocative statements that have been made, there has been a lot of back and forth as well that has been taking place. The relationship with Russia earlier has been good, now seems to be tense. The relationship with Ukraine earlier seems to be tense, now seems to be promising. However, when it comes to weaponizing Ukraine, that is something Zelensky has said, that Ukraine is able to target Russia, to target Moscow in particular, if they are given adequate weapons as well. So we are talking about the cooperation and conflict, both sides that have now been witnessed while the talks have happened. The talks have failed as well. And NATO and Russia established channels for dialogue and cooperation in the past. There has been NATO-Russia Council as well. But tensions have escalated, what is being said because of Russia's actions, particularly its invasion of Ukraine. And now NATO has also responded by strengthening deterrence and defense capabilities while remaining open to dialogue. Let's get in a word from Mr. Fabian, who's connected with us. Good morning to you, sir. When it comes to Russia-Ukraine war, the presence there of United States and also NATO now issuing a warning to countries who do business with Russia. That includes India as well. What do you have to say on that?
Well, first of all, NATO Secretary General's warning is he's talking through his hat, because he says, I am warning you. He has no business. I'm sure that the President of the United States can warn. So that is point number one. Point number two is that the latest is that the Senate Majority Leader is holding it up. He's not pushing through the legislation. Third thing is that Trump is not fully with it. And what he has done is that he has given Putin 50 days to agree to a ceasefire. In other words, during the 50 days, Putin can capture as much territory as he wants, and I wouldn't be surprised, though I will be shocked, if Trump had a secret understanding with Putin. And the last point is that, you said about Zelensky being asked about bombing Moscow and all that. Trump has made it very clear he is not going to give them long-range weapons. And also, even the Patriot missiles, he is getting only, Zelensky is getting at the most only 2 sets. So the whole sort of, Western media coverage of Trump's being disappointed with Putin and all that has been, what shall I say, slightly exaggerated, and I am afraid that some of our media also have fallen for that.
Absolutely, sir, because we are looking at these developments that have been taking place with the recent call that Trump had with Putin. He has described it as bad. Thank you very much, Mr. Fabian, for joining us here on the broadcast. We have Rishabh as well. Rishabh, good morning. When we speak of Donald Trump issuing warnings, issuing threats, issuing tariffs, issuing sanctions that would be doubled in a way when it comes to Russia, he says that even Moscow wants to understand what is driving the American leaders' action and asserting confidence that Russia will withstand any punitive measures because Russia has dismissed all of these warnings.
Well, Amta, if we talk about Donald Trump, the 30-minute-long statement that came in from Donald Trump late last night India time, along with the Secretary General of NATO, it was very vague. Yes, there were talks about equipments for Ukraine that the other NATO countries would be footbill for. There were no mentions of what exactly the weaponization would look like, what exactly is it being given, whether there are aircraft, whether there are SAMs or air-to-air missiles or anti-drone guns. What exactly was being given? There were a lot of talks in that press conference, but if we look for the details out of it, it was really scared. And you don't have much to understand from that Oval Office press conference.
Yes.
Now, within 10 hours, Donald Trump has backtracked, suggesting that Moscow is also ready and we need to discuss. So it showcases that Donald Trump hasn't been able to hold a grip over Russia, Ukraine, and is in a way, going his predecessors'
And that
way.
seems to be frustrating for him as far as visible with his statements because the situation still seems to be complex. Russia doesn't seem to bow under as far as when it comes to leadership or what has been required by the US and NATO as well. Now, on that threat that Donald Trump gave that we are going to be giving and doing secondary tariffs, and if we don't have a deal, in 50 days, it is simple that there would be 100% tariff, and that is going to be the way. However, Russia seems to have dismissed these warnings, these threats. For the moment, Rishabh, thank you very much for joining in. Let's move on and get you national updates this morning because the monsoon session starts next week, and the Congress, being the biggest opposition